Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at 214 Northeast 55th Avenue, checking the overall condition, serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. So I've had some equipment issues here. Right now we are advanced about 82 feet out from the 0 point at the base of the vent stack. We've gained access to the line through the main roof vent. And right now I just went and took a locate here. We are in the middle of the road, so we're way past homeowner responsibility at this point. So anyway, I apologize for kind of a slow, wonky pullback here. I'm having to, normally I use a wireless system, and I'm having to use a corded system right now, which is not ideal for being up on a roof. So it's going to be kind of a slow pullback here. Alright, so based on that locate, it looks like they took the update right up to the street edge. Not that there's anything wrong with the clay. The clay pipe looks very nice considering its age. Very clean. No issues there at all. Clay pipe gets a bad rap sometimes. It's actually a pretty solid pipe product. Its weak point are the pipe joints. Mostly because of the what seals them is grout. And that's what wears out over time. Otherwise, the clay material itself, I mean, unless it gets shocked or something like that, to crack it or fracture it, stuff basically lasts for forever. That's why you can dig up a clay artifact that's 3,000 years old and you can see the little face and shapes and everything they carved into it. It's essentially glass. One of my favorite, I've been doing this for 13 years, one of my favorite pipe products out there is stuff that just amazes me at how well it holds up. It's a little bit newer style 4-inch clay they did around the 60s, 70s, and it has rubber fern coats for the pipe joints. The stuff holds up beautifully. Alright, we're going to start reeling in here. I've got to spool the camera up on the ground down below me here, hop down, reel it in, and do it all over again. So. Well, thus far, I'm fairly pleased with what I'm seeing here. I have considerably less standing water in the line. In fact, we haven't seen any yet coming back. Sometimes what happens, excuse me, when you drop into a sewer line, is what you aren't always aware of is there's a big ball of toilet paper up ahead of your camera, and you can be babying that thing along the entire time and not even realize it, and it's up in front of your camera damming the pipe up. So we'll see if that's the case or not here, but so far I want to say that at this point on the advance out we had standing water. So hopefully it was something silly like that. Yeah, I'm starting to think we have that scenario here. We'll see. Okay, now we're just starting to get into a little bit here. We're talking like a 32nd of an inch right before that turn. That is not even going on my report. That's not the kind of stuff we're looking at here. Alright, now we have some actual standing water, it looks like. I apologize for the wonkiness of the foot counter. To redo, I'd have to run the whole camera all over again. So what I'm going to do here is I'll at least be able to measure the length of these things, and I'll try and locate them. Normally I'd tell you from, for instance, from 5 to 10 feet there's a belly or whatnot. In this case, I'll just mention where it is and how lengthy it is and how much water's in it. Yeah, so I just did a locate there. We are sitting in the gravel. It's right off the rear right corner of the house. It's on the right side of the home, but near that corner. So we're getting very close in here. We had, on the advance out there, we had standing water throughout the majority of the ABS, which tells me we were pushing debris through the line in front of us. So right there you hit about an inch. It's just barely over the camera lens. And my typical breaking point is once there's a 5-foot section of pipe with an inch of standing water in it. And generally speaking, most of the time when and if you place that same belly dimension out 50, 60 feet from the house, I'm hardly even going to talk about it. The closer proximity, that's about the only scenario where belly I mean, unless it's horrifically bad, and or has other hard obstructions in it, offset joints, things like that. The only time bellies really start causing problems in smooth plastic pipe is when they're close proximity to the home. Even then, it doesn't guarantee blockages will happen. But the reason for that, if you can imagine a blockage occurring, let's say 60 feet from the home, you have to fill up that much pipe just to get back to the clean-out access. In doing so, it creates a huge amount of head pressure. That's the water weight building up behind the blockage. There are very few blockages that are made of proper items, regular old toilet paper, that can withstand that much head pressure, and they break loose long before that water ever gets back to the house. When you block up in close proximity to the home, it's a different story. You have very little room for leeway, and that water doesn't have a lot of chance to build up and create pressure and push things through. All right, I'm going to reel in here really quick, and then we'll advance the camera back out. I want to get a locate right in the middle of these 2 points here. You're going to see a pink X marking at each end of the belly. And the plus side you've got here, this is one I'm going to recommend a repair on. It's close proximity to the house, and it's got an inch of standing water in it. There's enough there to potentially cause issues. If the belly is not repaired, the big things is you want to make sure whatever's going down your line easily disintegrates. You want to treat, and this goes for every sewer line. You really want to treat every line like it's a septic system. Don't put grease down it, paper towels. You want it to be stuff that easily disintegrates, and that helps to keep buildup at a minimum. And sometimes, large households that have high volume going down the line, it can be a more difficult thing, especially when you have kids in the house. You can't control what they're putting down the line. So, some people opt to do periodic jetting to keep buildup at bay. But you're only 3 foot to 3 foot 7 inches deep in this belly, and it's all under dirt. I'm pushing back out at the end here just so I can get a length of it. As I recall, we were back at about -69, so it's about a 10-foot long section there. when you do a repair on a belly, I mean any repair, you want to do a rescope. When you rescope, though, to check the work, you want to make sure the line is buried. You don't want to take a sewer scope that's been done with an open trench. This line, for instance, would have looked perfect before you put weight on top of it. So you want to make sure you do that after the trench has been closed up. Make sure nothing's settled again. Alrighty, yeah, the only awkward thing you might have to weasel around a little bit is the line does go underneath this little fence. Pretty simple stuff to work around, though. Alright, we're going to start coming up through the vent here now. Recommend the belly be repaired. If not repaired, I kind of already gave you the rundown there on how to keep buildup at minimum. And I'll show this here in just a second. I got to hobble down here. And I'll show with the camera where we're at so you can kind of get an idea. Alright, so right up there is where the main vent is, drops right down. You can see the pipe drops out of this cantilevered part of the house. It turns, wraps around, and shoots up the driveway. It kind of runs up the right side edge of it a little bit. But anyway, thing starts right here, the belly, and extends into the gravel area. It's about a 10-foot length of pipe there holding an inch of standing water. Otherwise, the rest of the sewer line here on property, all of it is intact. None of it's broken or anything like that. The rest of it, though, is graded properly, has proper flow. As it sits right now, the line is functioning, but draining slower than it should due to the standing water. And it's that slower drain that can lead to buildup and, potentially cause a blockage and a backup. So, and to reiterate, the same belly, again, if it were way at the end of the driveway or something like that, it would not be a scenario where I'd recommend a repair on it. It would just be too far from the house to pose any kind of high risk for a blockage to occur, unless the line was being heavily abused. At close-in proximity like this, they can cause blockages under proper circumstances, but even still, doing things like, toilet paper can go down line, but you can create issues with toilet paper by balling it up, for instance. Something that would otherwise move on its way and disintegrate pretty easily. So that's another thing you want to avoid is balled up toilet paper, and that's where it's hard. When you have children in the house, I have 4, and until they learn how to fold toilet paper, that's another item that can hang up in bellies and lead to issues. Grease is a huge one. Cooking oil and grease, I'm a huge stickler on that. Grease really likes to concentrate and build up in standing water because it cools down rapidly, and it floats to the top of the water and starts to build up on the sidewalls, and it constricts the line down just like it does to your arteries. That's another thing that you can do to help mitigate blockages from occurring if it's not repaired.